Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our program tonight. And we are back in session. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Mom's Night In. I am your host, Tanya May Event, and I'm joined by our producer for the evening, Nakisha Green. Hi, Marquisha.
Evening.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good.
I was talking to our guest. Is this our fourth season or our third season?
It's our fourth.
Wow.
This is our fourth season.
Where did the time go?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's
pretty amazing. And the season for us is like September through May. So we go hard. Yeah.
We do. Yeah. It's the good portion of a year.
And it's interesting, as I was even preparing this week, I feel like it's almost time to maybe start doing some of our topics again. Like your topic, the topic of cancer. We've had and I've just been seeing as people experience either a death from a family member, or even experience it themselves, there's some topics that I'm like, we need to go revisit that. It's time for us to revisit some of our topics. So I think next season we'll probably do that. We'll start to revisit and bring some new stories for some of those topics. So
I like the adoption stories.
Yes. Yeah.
I did. I like those.
There's really so many that's near and dear to my heart. And even the women and we've had a number of women that have come back and did multiple. They've done multiple topics with us as well. So it's been a blessing. We have been doing this, and we are blessed to do it, and we're blessed to continue to do it as long as God allows. So if you're with us tonight, jump on the chat, say hello, let us know who is on with us, where you're joining from. So we are in our November series, halfway through November. So we are doing loss of a father. And one of the things I think about our program, we have done a lot of loss over the years. And just I think it's because grief it really just crosses all boundaries. And we talk many times, a lot of times we talk about grief of losing someone that's near to us, but there's so many other types of loss that a lot of these themes that we are dealing with from loss, we can utilize them. Loss of a relationship, loss of a job, which is going to be one of our shows coming up, and loss of dreams, our children. We've heard from many moms whose children may have had certain diagnosis, certain illness, injuries, things like that, and their dreams are lost. So all of these things of loss, of grief, of brokenhearted, and just always constantly showing that no matter what you're going through, that God is close to the brokenhearted. He's close to us. He cares about us, and He brings us that comfort and peace that we need. So hello. Thank you for joining. I see Terry in Maryland joining us. I see Beverly down in Atlanta who is with us tonight. So thank you so much. Again, just jump on and let us know where you're joining us from. But we're going to jump right to our guest because we got a lot to talk about. And I'm hoping I can get through all of these topics that I had identified for her. So, Nakisha, I'm going to say goodbye to you. Right. But tonight is Blue Hen Night. We have a Blue Hen. We have another Blue Hen joining us.
UD 1994.
Yes. So I'm 96. We'll ask Nakisha when she gets out. I don't know which year she came out, but it's Black Blue Hen Night. So I will see you. Thank you, and bring on Nakisha. So again, everyone, thank you so much for joining us.
Bring on Nakisha.
I keep doing that. She's Nakisha. We're going to bring on Nakisha now. Bye, Nakisha.
It was a popular name in the 70s.
I'll just call y'all both Keish. Take care.
Take care.
All right, everyone. So again, thank you for joining us tonight, and hello to Miss Nakisha Bailey.
Hey now.
I should say Dr. Nakisha Williams Bailey. Don't drop it. Don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted. My friend for 30 plus years. We met on the campus of the University of Delaware back in the early 90s. And she's just been an amazing friend over the years. So hello, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you? I'm getting used to these the earphones, but yeah.
Okay, good. So we want to welcome you to Faith-Filled Moms, our Mom's Night In. We are going to just start and have you introduce yourself to our guests. Let them know a little bit about who you are, what you do, your family, and then we'll go ahead and get right into your story for tonight.
Okay, well, good evening. I am Nakisha Williams Bailey. I'm a mother. I'm a wife. I'm a good 20 plus year subject matter expert in human resources, and I serve the community. I'm just Nakisha. That's who I am. I just like
And
to serve.
you're your dad's daughter because he
I
served.
am. I
You served
am.
well. He served well, and you just continue on that legacy, as we'll talk about tonight. But I'm just excited. I even last night or last week with our guest, and tonight I'm just honored to be able to honor your fathers, your father and her.
Right.
It's just an honor to be able to hear about them, to hear about the impact what they've done in their lives, and then the impact that they made on my friends. You know, they had impact into who you are, and just again an amazing friend, an amazing pillar in the community, and just amazing mother, wife, all of that. So I'm excited, and I want to say hello to. I see Sonia Congo is on. I see Elaine Brundage is on from Glassboro, and Carmen May is on. So we want to give a special shout out to Carmen. So anybody that knows, Carmen is one of those that joins us every week, and she had been in the hospital and rehab since September. My
Wow. God
birthday.
bless you.
Home this weekend. So we give God all the glory for just continuing to heal her and bring her home. So Carmen, it's good to have you on. We are so happy to have you not only home, but with us tonight as well.
Amen.
Yes, yes. So if you're first time joining us, we are Faith-Filled Moms. So I just want to share a little bit about who we are. We are a community of moms, and we provide biblical and emotional support and content to bring hope, encouragement, and inspiration to women facing difficult seasons in life. So every month, as Marquisha just said, we have been on for 4 seasons, and every month we bring a different topic. And just to kind of recap, we've done loss. Like I said, we've done loss of a mom, now loss of a dad, we've done loss of a brother, we've loss of a child, we've done depression, we've done divorce, we've done cancer diagnosis, we've done children with congenital conditions, so many different things, so many different topics that as moms and women, as we experience them, it is a very difficult season as we go through them. But we like to bring our guests back on to recount what they've been through, to share what they experienced, and to share how God brought them through that. So if that someone is watching now and needs that encouragement, they have that from someone who's already been through it and is on the other side and can share what they've done, hopefully to encourage someone who's walking through that season.
Of course.
So yes, so we want to just welcome you, and we want to just even let you know that Nakisha's story and all of our stories are on our website at faithfilledmoms.org. So all of the topics that we've done, if you go to the menu, you can just click on it and it'll drop down all the topics that we've done, all of the stories written in blog format, and all of our Moms Night In conversations are on our website. So if you know, again, anyone who's going through something, pretty much we've probably touched upon that topic. We have some content on our website that is sure to inspire and encourage you if you are going through something difficult, a difficult season in your life right now. So I just want to open us up in prayer, and then Nakisha, we're going to get right into your story.
Okay.
All right, dear Heavenly Father, God, I thank you so much for this evening, for this Mom's Night In, for the honor and privilege to be able to just have this conversation with another faith-filled mom, Lord, to be able to just share what she has gone through, how you brought her through, and the lessons that she learned. And we specifically pray for anyone watching, maybe live tonight or in the future, that may be struggling with grief, struggling with the loss of a loved one. Lord, we pray that when they leave this show, that they are lifted, that they are comforted, God, that grief is just a little bit lighter on their soul, God, that you would speak to their heart to give them whatever they need to hear tonight, Lord. We pray that you would be with all of our technology and that everything would work exactly as it should, so not one word would be lost, and that you would get the glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Okay, so Nakisha, I read your blog, and our guest again will read it tomorrow at our website, faithfulmoms.org. But I want you to share about your dad. And I think, I don't know, I'm going back and forth, so I'm not sure if the pictures of your dad went up, but Marquisha, you could put those up if you'd like to. But I want, as she's talking, if Nakisha, just share about your dad. Share about those early years that you can remember, and kind of transitioning into him as dad to the younger girl, dad to the maybe teenager, dad to the adult, and kind of all of those things that your dad was.
Well, the funny thing is that he was the same in all those phases for me.
Mm-hmm.
He was always my dad, always Wilson. And he had a lot of different names. He went from Junior, Wilson, Dad, Pop Pop, W, all those names, but to me, always just Dad. And just very influential, just really taught me everything. And we've shared it before. I mean, taught me how to love, taught me discernment, taught me how to serve, taught me boldness,
Mm.
Well,
Listen,
taught
he
me.
taught you well on that one.
Yeah, I'm very bold. I'm very bold. And he had a very unique sense of humor. I always called him
Mhm.
the king of snappy comebacks, and I always became the queen of snappy comebacks, right? So I learned all that from my dad, but I watched him, and he was very quiet. He had a
Mm,
speech impediment. Didn't really like to talk a lot, but when he talked, he got something said. And
yeah,
then so I always learned to make sure you have something to say, and make sure you mean what you say, and you say what you mean. And I learned that from him. And he's very compassionate, and always wanted to serve, and
mhm.
didn't mind being in the background. And I kind of learned that from him.
Wow. And so share about some of the things that he was, who he was, and what he did in the community as well.
Well, I mean, he worked at Chrysler for 40 years. He had his own exterminating business.
Mhm.
For, by God, 39 of those 40 years he worked at Chrysler. So I always had two jobs. A union leader. He was a director of ergonomics at Chrysler. Um, he was a treasurer at CBTU, the Coalition of Black Trade Unionists. A. Philip Randolph brought that back to Delaware. And just wanted to serve. He was a
Yeah.
God-fearing man. He was a chair of the trustee board for 25 years. So good steward of money.
Yeah.
And I probably didn't learn that from him, but he
It's
was
okay. It's okay.
he was a good steward of money. But
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
and he just cared about people, and he cared about the little man, is what he would say.
Wow.
Um,
Mhm.
he was a poor black man that came from Alabama, didn't have that much, and turned it into a whole lot. And he would
Wow.
just always say, much came from nothing.
Wow, what an example. And so again, if you're just joining us, this is my college friend, Dr. Nakisha Williams Bailey. And so I did see some of your friends join us tonight. So I want to call them out as well. I see Tammy Owen from Bear, Delaware is on. And I hope I'm saying this right. Monira Morris is on. She said, "Hey,
You
Dr.
said it
Bailey."
right. You said it
Yes,
right.
yes. And I see Carmen Word, who is tagging people. So Carmen, thank you so much. She said she's here to support you, and she's tagged
Yeah,
some
that's
friends
one
as
of my
well.
girls. It's one of my girls.
So Delaware is definitely in the house. I see Deb Small Piner on as well. Your cousin Katrina is on. So thank
Yeah,
you
yeah.
so much. Yes, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate everyone joining and supporting Nakisha tonight. So Nakisha, I want to transition and talk about your dad's illness and his
Right.
passing. If you can kind of just set the tone and however you want to, in terms of how you learned that he was ill, and just kind of walk us through that experience of him passing.
Well, I mean, everybody knows he would always walk and run. He did about 7 to 10 miles a day. People would see
Mhm.
him all the time. Everybody's like, "That's your dad. That's your dad." So yeah, that's him. So very healthy. He would didn't like to eat pork, all kinds, and he would always say to me, "Well, I just eat to live. Y'all live to eat." Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I was just healthy. And that last year he would get thin, and I didn't think anything of it. Just get thinner and thinner. I didn't think anything of it. And then he just was sick. It was weird. It was,
Mhm.
he got heat stroke. He was running in the heat, got heat stroke, and was dehydrated. And I had to force him to, go to the ER. And later I found out that heat stroke had caused his kidneys to be damaged. But ultimately, he had full renal failure. And probably the last year of his life, he was supposed to be on hospice care, and he was still doing his thing. I didn't find out till after he passed away that, really
Wow.
truly how sick he was.
Mhm.
So he just didn't talk about it. He had made a decision in his mind that he was going to go when the Lord took him, and that's what he did.
And let me ask you this. How do you think that would have made a difference had you known? Do you think, like, you know what I mean? In terms of, if you think about the last times with him, like, how do you feel like it, or if that would have made a difference?
Oh, I would have got on his nerves. And I did. I mean, I even got on his nerves the last night before he died.
Mhm.
Like when he was sick, I was like, I forced him to go to the doctor. And I would have just got on his nerves. I just remember that week, that Monday, I felt that I was going to lose him that week.
Mm.
And we had a cycle. We would argue on Monday, stop speaking on Tuesday, then start talking again on Wednesday.
Mhm.
And that Monday, I said, I'm not going to start this argument because I knew
Wow.
that I was going to lose him this week.
Wow.
So we just had, and he had lost his voice, and he would get sick and lose his voice. So he had lost
Mhm.
his voice, and I just said, I know I'm going to lose him this week. And it was crazy. and he was still taking my daughter to school, to work. And that Thursday, he was taking her to work, and I asked her, I said, Lexus, how did Pop-Up look? And she called me and she said, Mom, he's actively dying.
Wow.
And
And she was a teenager, right? She was in high
yeah,
school at it. Yeah.
and she said, he's actively dying. I
Wow.
said, wow. So,
So for her to have that insight to be able to see that at that
right.
young of an age too. Yeah.
And I made an appointment for him to go to the urgent care that was right next to her job. And then
Hmm.
they had texted him, and then he texted me, and he said, I'm not going to the ER. And I said, you need to go. I'm not going. And then I said, I know you don't like it. I know you're fussing, and I only want you to go because we love you.
Yeah.
And then he said, and I remember it very vividly. And he texted me, he said, thank you for the house call, Dr. Bailey, but I'm good. Right. And he got smart. And I said, okay.
Uh-huh.
And that was it. That's the last
Mm.
time I talked to him.
That was his last text to you.
That
Last
was it.
word.
And
Yeah.
then got home and got a phone call late from his phone. I was like, what's he doing? Because he was never up that late. And then it was his
Hmm.
wife calling, panicking. And, we rushed over to his house. And, the paramedics told me, they said, he, we had to bring him back. He's critical. We're going to rush him to the ER. And I looked over at my husband. I was like, he's gone.
Mm.
They just don't want to say it now
To
because
call
it's
it
too
yeah or
much.
something.
You're in the funeral business, right? It's a whole lot to once they're declared dead at home, right? And I said, they just want to get him to the hospital. I said, but I know he's going. I know he's
Wow.
going.
Wow. Wow. And with that, I just saw a comment from Beverly. She said those Southern men never wanted to show that they were sick or weak. I said that's very interesting. Just to the end.
Oh, yeah. And I always tell people, all my life, I've never seen my dad laying down except in the casket.
Wow.
He was never in rest mode.
Wow.
Never. I mean, I seen him sit down, but even in church, he never
Hmm.
sat down. He stood up. He stood with his arms crossed, on the pulpit, But that was it.
Wow. Rosetta's on and said she's had the same kind of conversation with her grandmother. Her last conversation. It's I think it's important again how you process it. And I think even this conversation about grief, a lot of times people, I don't want to say regret, but may struggle with whatever those last, I should have done this, I should have said that, I
Right.
should have,
Right.
Those kind of things in dealing with grief. But I think that's one of the things that even from our guest last week that said it's so important that we cherish those loved ones that we have all the time. Like you just never know when it's your last day, when it's your last conversation. And so how important it is to just make sure that you care about someone, that you love someone, that you cherish them. If you have a loved one tonight that you have not been speaking to, when we hang up this call tonight, I need you to call them and
I
text
agree.
them and just to say that I love whatever, just to reach out, because again, you never know. And you don't want to have regrets looking over someone at the casket because you wish you would have said or done something. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, words are powerful.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta be careful what we say because we don't know if that's the last thing.
Yeah, yeah. And I remember your dad passed away a couple months before mine. Yours passed in
Right.
February 2022, and I was in May. And I remember, even how you shared on social media, you shared about who he was, but you weren't shy in sharing about how you felt as well.
Right.
And I thought that was so powerful, especially for me, not knowing that I was going to be going through that, but I knew that I can go back and just that you were such a pillar of strength to me. The way that you memorialized him, the way that you honored him, the way that you just made sure that his legacy was not forgotten. I just want to take a moment just to say that to you, because it was just powerful as a daughter who's lost her father to see how you honored your dad. Again, knowing you're grieving, but still showing that strength through how you're showing up on social media. I'm sure showing up in person as well, but still obviously grieving on the inside as well.
Oh yeah. It was just important. I didn't really care about who was watching.
Mm-hmm.
I just knew that, I'm Wilson's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And no one could speak about him better than me. Nobody knew him or knows him better than me.
Wow.
And I could just hear him in my head saying, "What are you doing? What? Like, why you ain't doing that? What you ain't doing?" And I could just hear him. I could just, and he always said, "You know, the dead to take care of the dead."
Mm. That's from the book.
Right. And so, so I just, he was always in my ear, like, you know what I would do.
Mm.
You know,
Is he still in your ear?
all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still talk to him, um, all the time. And I still find out things that he did, before like people like, did you know your dad did this? Really? Did you know your dad? Really?
Mm.
Um, so yeah, and I still see how I just see everything that he said to me. I'm like, yep, yep. I would talk. Oh, yep, you're right, W. You right. You did that. Yep, right. You did that.
Wow.
You did that.
So Carmen said, "You are so strong. Your father will always live through you." And she just told you today you're one of the strongest women she knows. Yes.
Yep,
What
yep.
a blessing. So with that, you're strong, and you showed that strength, but you still experience grief, as we all
Oh
do.
my God. Yeah.
You experienced denial, anger. So I want to talk about those things because again, same with me. We can look a certain way and we're so strong, but we're human beings and
Oh yeah.
we experience all those. So I want you to talk about your process of grief, experiencing denial, experiencing anger, but still eventually getting to that acceptance and
Right, right,
peace.
right.
And just even those emotions, being mad at your dad, being mad at God, like talk about that human side that spiritually you knew where dad was and you knew that God loved you, but still you had to process the emotions of being human and
Oh
experiencing
yeah.
life.
I mean, I present very well, right?
Mhm.
Um, that's how I was raised. Um, but it went through all that, the tears. I mean, my husband would tell you, and I'll share with you, my father passed away February 4th, 2022 at 1:08 a.m. Probably for months after that, I woke up every morning crying,
Wow.
and I would look at the clock and it would be 1:08.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Um, Instinctively. And my husband would get up earlier. He would get up before 1:08 so he could be up when I got up.
To prepare for you. Wow.
And it got to the point he's like, we ain't getting no sleep. What's going on? So I went through that. I went through the crying. I went through I got his medical records and I researched his medical records. And Dr. Scantlebury sat with me and went through his medical records. This man was not sick until he was sick.
Yeah.
So he didn't take any medicine. So I went through that. What could I, what happened? All that. And
Backtrack. What I could have done
right,
differently, or how could I have prevented
right.
this? Yeah. Yeah.
And then of course I was mad. I mean, mad. I mean, I remember one time I went to the graveyard. I was cussing him out, and then I just started laughing, and I was like, I said, Wilson, even the only way I can cuss you out is if you in the grave,
In the grave. In the grave. In the ground.
right? So let's do
Wow.
that, just do all that. I mean, and I'm sure my daughter, my husband, and they was like, I don't even know what's next. Just all kinds of stuff.
And that's an important thing I want to ask you. I want to pivot to is that support that you had. And I thought when we were chatting last week and you said something I thought so profound. Even as you think about your life partner who you marry, who do you want to be holding your hand when you put your mother and father into the ground? When you have to bury your mom and dad, who do you want to be holding your hand? So talk about that support, your support from your spouse, your daughter, your friends. And I always like to ask this question as well, especially in this topic. What were things that was said to you that may have been helpful? And specifically, what things were said that were not helpful? Because we always want to just educate
Right, right, right,
our
right.
guests what to not say to someone who is grieving.
Well, of course, my husband. When my father, when we were leaving his house going to the ER, and my husband was driving.
Mhm.
I mean, I think that ride was the longest ride. I was like, "What? Like, why you ain't like? Why you driving so slow?" And he probably was doing 90 miles per hour, and I
Mhm.
felt like I could jump out the car and run and get there quicker than him.
Mhm.
But he was so calm.
Mhm.
And then when we went in the room, and when the doctor came in and he said, we couldn't save your father. We lost him. I mean, I screamed from the belly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I said, I don't know what to do. And he said, it's okay. And I said, no, it's not okay. Because I always know what to do.
Always know, right. Right. So
And he
now
said,
what?
it's okay.
Yep. Mhm.
And then,
Mhm.
and there was some drama. I didn't get along with my stepmother, and she was in the room, right? And my husband said, what we're not going to do is we're not going to have any drama.
Yes. Yes,
That's not what
David.
that's what we're not going to do. He said, we are going to honor your father. We're going to
Mhm.
respect his memory,
Mhm.
and we're not
Mhm.
going to have any
I
drama.
love that. I love that.
And we just fell in. We just fell in line.
Every family needs that. Every family needs a David
And
in their
he's the
life.
everybody,
Wow.
and he's the
Yes.
calming force. And I just said, okay,
Mhm.
okay. And he
Mhm.
said, this is what we're not going to do. And he's
Wow.
another one. He don't talk much, but when he talked, I said, okay, okay, okay.
Mhm.
And that's what we did. We fell in line. So, we need that. And everybody was, everybody offers their condolences, and then, but I wouldn't say I was experienced that because I'm not. I never lost my father before.
Yeah.
But I blocked, I didn't take phone calls,
Mhm.
and I didn't want a whole bunch of people in my house.
Yeah.
Um, because I wanted to prepare for after all the crowds. So the best way to prepare for no crowds is not to have any
Not to have one
crowds,
to begin with, right?
right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that's what I did. And
Okay.
and I have this group we call the blessed bubble. I stay within my blessed bubble
Mhm. Wow.
and my safe zone, and they knew what to do. There's no need to call 100 people. Call one person, and you tell them to call 99.
That's so important that you say that because I see and hear that all the time, maybe a month after, someone's passed away. Again, it's for people who have been in that person's life all the time that you we'll talk about it. The new normal, you said the new you, we're going to talk about that in a bit. But to have all of those crowds leave and then it's just you, but that person is no longer there with you as well. And you see people that struggle a month and a 2 month, especially after, because that loss is so new. But at some point you had support that had been there with you. But then once all the support is gone, once everybody has gotten back on with their lives,
Right, right, right.
you're stuck with the new you. I'm gonna go. Let's go to there now. We'll go there now. Then the new you. I call it the new normal. You said the new you.
Right.
How how did you get through that? And give some of the wisdom that you shared in terms of how people can start adjusting to their new life and the new you.
Well, first you have to realize that you are going to be a new person.
Hmm.
That person is no longer there. Um, when you lose somebody, the person you were with them is gone.
It's gone.
So
Wow.
you're new, right? And the people around you have to adjust. And I think I shared that with you that, after I lost my father, like it's so easy to cut out the foolishness. So some people that were ancillary friends,
Hmm.
I mean, they could be like, you could say good morning, and they could say, well, what's good about it? You'd be like, I'm not talking to you no more. Next.
Uh-huh. Yes, because you gotta
Right?
protect that. You gotta protect that space.
Protect that
That's
space.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
I think you just you prepare yourself to know you're going to be new, and I think you let other people know that you're new. Just I'm new. Um, and the people that truly love you, the people that truly are in your corner, they'll be there. They're not going anywhere because they've been through the ebbs and flows of your life.
Hmm.
And the people that are just hang-ons and ancillary, it's okay if you lose them. And you make decisions differently.
Mm-hmm.
You make decisions differently. You're just like, just people are all up in arms about the election and who our new president gonna be. I'm like, I think if you ever see that movie, Tyler Perry's movie, Medea's funeral, where
Hmm.
every scene the guy was like, "Leave me alone, my daddy just died." Like that's me. What? Look, leave me alone. My daddy
Hmm.
just died. Like
Hmm.
that. So I think it's like that. You're just new, and and you learn to be careful. You know,
Yeah.
and you and I found I got a new sensitivity to death.
Mm. Don't
Now
you?
when
Don't you? Yes.
now when people have a loss, I make sure I'm intentional about offering my condolences. I think
Yeah.
you just have to be intentional.
Yeah.
Before I lost my dad, it's like, okay, sorry for your loss. You know, you send a little text. Now I'm intentional to make
Mm-hmm.
sure you know that I know and I understand and I'm praying for you and I'm here. And I want people to know that it's okay to not be okay.
I agree with that. One of the things, I think more so my brother passed away because it was COVID. Usually, especially in Black families, we're going to somebody's house, and people are bringing food, and you have those people around you. But we didn't have that when he passed away, and so I didn't feel like doing. I didn't even got to bed. I didn't feel like doing anything. So the food, the gift cards that were sent was so helpful. I think we lost Nakisha. So Nakisha, we're gonna see if she comes back to us.
Mm-hmm. Does look
So y'all
like
hold
it.
on 1 second, because I think we just lost Nakisha here.
It does.
There she
Here she
is.
is.
Perfect.
I'm sorry.
We said, uh-oh. I was in the middle of it. I gotta get my thoughts back together. I said,
You was doing
I
it.
hope,
You were. You.
I hope we didn't lose people.
you're good. No, they're still,
I'm
everybody's
sorry,
waiting for
y'all.
you. Everybody's waiting for you to
I'm
come back.
sorry.
No, but what I was saying is the gift cards for meals. We had gotten a lot of restaurants or meals that was helpful to me, that now I'm intentional about that. When someone passes away, I want to provide food, because
Yeah, yeah,
I know you don't feel like cooking. I know you don't feel like
yeah,
going
yeah,
to the
yeah.
kitchen. And so I
That's
want to,
me.
do you want DoorDash? You want, what's the Insta, whatever. Do you want a gift? Like I just, that is on this side of his passing, where, like you said before, just, I'm sorry for your loss. But no, I want to be there. I want to tangibly give something to take, just for one night, a small weight off of them, that you don't have to worry about dinner tonight. You can
Right.
just stay in the bed, on the sofa, whatever you want to do, and let me take care of this for you tonight.
Well, let me tell you what I do. When my father passed away, Kathleen Jennings, not Kathleen, to Kathleen Jennings. I forget. She was in Milford, and she was the state auditor.
Mm-hmm.
And not Kathleen Jennings, but it'll come to me. She sent me an Instacart order, and it was bread,
Yep.
milk,
Yep.
butter, like the
Mm-hmm.
staples.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'm going to do that. It was so
Mm-hmm.
insightful because I was like, we needed milk, we needed butter, we needed bread, and I just thought it was so insightful. It was very thoughtful. So yeah, I've carried that on. But yeah, gift
Yeah.
cards and the
I'll need to say that
Instacart.
gift card, like
Yeah,
the grocery store, ShopRite, or wherever, depending on your region, the grocery store cards, the door, what is it? Door, I don't know, Uber Eats, or yeah,
right, right,
whatever.
right.
But just something that, to me, that's just thoughtful, to be able to take something off, something that you don't have to worry about for tonight.
And I
What
didn't
we had this
eat. I
week.
mean, I didn't eat. But you want something there. You got to feed
You're
your
gonna
child,
eventually,
your
right? You're
husband.
gonna get hungry eventually,
Right.
right?
Well,
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I didn't eat that week. I didn't eat for a
Really?
while. And my cousin Katrina, she was yeah, it was Kathy McGinnis. Thank you, Tony. My cousin Katrina was out eating at I forget the restaurant. And when she called, she said, "You want something to eat?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm kind of hungry." And she came, her and my cousin Corey, they came right to the house with a plate. And I was like, "Wow." And she said, "Well, you haven't ate." So as soon as I heard you say you wanted to eat, we bought it.
Because people want to do something. People
They
want to
do.
be there for you. And that, to me, that's just because we're humans. We're going to eat. That's one way that we can really show up for someone, is just to meet that physical need of hunger. And I just saw grief groceries up there as well. Right. You just,
Yep,
when it's
bonefish
there, I
grill.
want you to be, yep.
Yep,
I want,
bonefish.
wow. So I want to take a step back. You mentioned something that I wanted to revisit, and talking about not only the new you, but like you said, you've never lost your dad before. And I didn't think about this. This is probably the first time that I'm thinking about this. I haven't considered this way, but I'm no longer a daughter on earth. Like, I don't have a father on earth anymore.
Right.
So I'm my mom's daughter, obviously, but I'm not a daddy's girl anymore. And
Who's
I
still
can't, I hope I
daddy's
don't cry.
girl?
Like, oh my, you know what I mean? I don't have him. And I don't have,
Yeah,
I have sisters. So, I'm a sister, but I don't have a brother anymore. Like
right,
that's
right.
different.
It's different.
Like your life changes.
It
And I
is.
never thought about that. But like you said, you navigate differently where you're no longer that person who had that some people, you may not be a wife anymore or a mother anymore. All of those things you have to really adjust to. I'm no longer on earth, obviously they're in heaven, but no, I don't have that relationship on earth anymore. And that's part of the transition of getting to the new you that you have to be able to adjust to.
Yeah.
Girl, I wasn't prepared to say that.
Right. See?
And
It's
that's another thing I want to say. Grief can hit you out of nowhere.
nowhere.
Like I've been good. Just out of nowhere. But another thing, I mentioned it last week as well, I'm gonna say it again tonight, that's so profound. It's only visiting me. When grief comes for a visit and you have to just process what you're experiencing and then let it just keep on going. And then I'll
Right.
adjust in a couple minutes and get back to normal, and we'll get
Right.
on
Well,
with this conversation.
you can't sit in it.
No, that was my next point. You can't sit in it. You can't get buried in it. You can't stay in it. You have to see it for what it is, experience it, and whatever it is I got to feel through this, and allow it to visit, and then say, okay, you can go on your way now. Until the next time, until the next trigger, until the next visit.
Well, we're normal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're not superhuman. And we have to understand that, when you love somebody and you lose them, that's grief, right?
Yeah.
Grief is where love and loss meets.
Mm.
So if there's no love,
There's
there's
no
no grief,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, I'm thankful, you know, God, I'm thankful, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
so thankful to be Wilson Williams' daughter. But I realized how much I loved him in grief.
Yeah. Yeah. So I need some time to get myself together. So I think this is a good time for you to read your poem that you wrote for your
I
dad.
didn't
I said, this.
take you there, but I'll read the poem and
So
let you pick the.
this poem is also in your blog. That's going to be on our website. But I wanted to make sure we allotted time for those that weren't able to attend his funeral. I thought the poem was so beautiful and a beautiful tribute. So I wanted people to hear the poem that you wrote for him. So
Okay. Well, I share with you, when my father passed away, when I went to that room and he was laying on that gurney with that sheet over him, I saw his hands. And I just looked at his hands and I just said, Daddy, you worked all your life. You raised us. You raised all your siblings. Now it's time for you to rest.
mm-hmm.
And then a couple days before the funeral, I just came to me in the middle of the night and it just said his hands. And I wrote this poem and I did read it at his homegoing service. And it is just called His Hands. And it's like, when I was little, I marveled at how strong my dad's hands were. I held them all the time and I followed his every move and never let his hands go. He used to call me the tape recorder. When he would go out to bowl or whatever, my mom would say, Take Nakisha with you. And he would say, Come on, tape recorder. He always held my hand. I watched his hand build cars at Chrysler and prevent injuries. I watched his hand spray pesticides. I watched his hands make flyers and sell tickets. I watched his hands bowl and I watched his hands play volleyball. In church, I watched his hands count money for over 25 years. His hands guided me through school, and as I watched him serve God, he handed me my hand to God as I accepted Christ. When David found me, my dad placed my hand in David's hand, his hands. When Alexis was born, I watched her hands replace mine in his, and I was overjoyed. He even taught her to drive. He poured his entire self into her. She was little W. If he were here, he would say, come on now, you're talking too much. I watched my dad hold Diana's hand in holy matrimony, his hands. Man, when I found my career, he was ecstatic. Any employer that hired me really got a deal. They got 2 for 1. They got me and they got my dad. They had the upper hand. When he came to Canaan, I watched his hands direct the ushers, clap on the pulpit to his favorite songs, and I watched him raise his hand when the pastor preached about Paul. I watched his hands cut off the lights in the sanctuary when it was time to go, and I watched his hands open and close these doors for any and every event happening at Canaan. I watched his hands embrace all of Alexa's circle and be their pop, but to her, he was Big W. I watched his hands deliver the Canaan newsletter each month to his circle. I watched his hand folded across his chest in a pulpit. In service, I watched his hands give out toys, food, coats, and school supplies. I watched his hands hand out PPE, and COVID tests. I watched him participate in the annual cancer walk with the Canaan for Life Ministry and with Angel Tree. I watched his hands register people to vote. I watched his hands raised up in solidarity against wrongs to make them right. I watched his hand help the least of these. I watched his hands take care of so many people. These hands took care of my aunt. These hands called my other aunt and rant and raved about his precious Alabama football. I watched these hands shake the hands of some of the most influential people in the state, region, and the country. And I watched these hands travel around the world. I watched these hands wave at people when he walked daily. These hands sent out spiritual posts daily to over 5,000 Facebook friends. And these hands called me daily. Man, when he passed away, the first thing I looked at and touched were his hands. These hands once used a colored only water fountain. These hands once picked cotton. These hands worked so hard, and now they were able to rest. I'm okay, Daddy. I'm so thankful that God chose you to be my dad. Alexis and David are holding my hands now.
Yeah.
I'm still holding on to God's hands that you taught so many years ago. Rest well, W. You earned it. The poor boy from Alabama has his crown, and that is way better than a championship. Roll Tide.
That that's such a beautiful tribute. But I want to ask you something. You smiled the entire time that you read. Like you're smiling right now.
Oh yeah.
What is going through your mind as you read that, and what as you remember all of those things about him? Why are you smiling so brightly right now?
Oh God. Because I remember everything he did, and the impact it had on people. Like he would post these scriptures every day on his Facebook page,
Mm-hmm.
and people would respond. That's how a lot of people found out that he passed away. They like these are strangers, and they were like, "Hey," because I kept his phone. I still have his phone. I never cut his phone off.
Mm-hmm.
And people like, what's going on? I didn't get a post from you. I'm so sorry. My dad passed away. That went on for weeks.
Wow.
Because he posted every day a
Mm-hmm.
scripture. So I don't even think he knows, how many people that he touched. So I'm thankful. I'm thankful for the wisdom. I'm thankful for the people that he touched. I'm thankful for the people that he loved and people that loved him. And I'm thankful. That's why I smile. Um, he was a good dude,
Yeah.
right? He was a
Yeah.
good dude.
And it's a blessing, I think, for us to have experienced that love. Our guest last week, Janine, she cried, tears was rolling pretty much the whole conversation, but we laughed like we just kept laughing through her. Like she would say things and we were laughing and smiling. And it's again that tug of you're grieving, but you can still smile at the memories, and you can the life is a gift. The fact that we are grieving and missing someone means that we had the gift of their lives with us, and that we can still carry them on. I think you said, I saw Beverly and some other people saying your dad still talks to them, their words are still there, so we continue to carry them with us even while we grieve. And so we just to kind of remember those that may be experiencing grief, you still have a blessing. You still have the blessing of their life. You still have the
Oh
blessing of them
God.
being
And
together.
and I'm thankful. He prepared me for a time such as this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So even when I didn't know what he was doing it, and I'm thankful. Right.
That's I'm checking my time. So we got about 15 minutes left. So I want to ask you now, you've done some things that honor his legacy after his passing. So I want you to talk about some of the things like Dr. Highway, you showed me a tattoo, some other things,
Right.
the significance even of the W, just some of those things. Talk about his legacy in your life now and going forward as well.
Well, first thing I did, he was president of A. Philip Randolph Delaware chapter, and the national officer, she made me president. First thing I did was I named, an award after him, the Wilson Williams President Award. I knew that that's something that, he would like. I did that. And adopted a highway on one of the roads that he always walked on every day. It was very intentional,
Mm.
so that, he might not be on this road every day, but his name is here,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know. And I thought, I could just see him looking up and say, I could just see him say, Nakisha, you see my name on the road? Like, they got my name on the road. So I did that, I got a tattoo, with a, everybody called him W.
Mhm.
So I got a tattoo with a W, and my middle name is Williams. I made sure my middle name, I kept my maiden name and made it my middle name, but I'm very intentional that when anybody writes my name or presents it, that they make it Nakisha W. Bailey.
Yes. Yes.
So every
Even
time
on the
I see
screen
my
now.
right,
Yep.
I'm very
Mhm.
intentional, and
Mhm.
I'll correct people like make you. I need my W. And
Yeah.
they like, well, what's the big deal? It's a very big deal.
Yeah.
Because
Wow.
that's a little, you know, remembrance of him. I wear a W all the time on my bracelet. It's just it's just what I do. And it's almost like a little secret between me and him.
Yeah.
Somebody watching the screen, they say Nakisha W. Bailey. Okay, it's not to them it's not a big deal. To me, it's major.
Yeah. And I see
So
Janine now. That's our guest from last week is on. So Janine, welcome back. She did the same thing. Yes.
yeah, look, it's you can be intentional without being encroaching. You know,
Mm.
everybody doesn't. Everybody doesn't have to agree with me, right? But I can be intentional of honoring. Like I said with the W. You know, that's just what I do. And he was so excited about my title, so excited about my job, right? And I know one of the things I did was my boss had gave me a cross pen like 2 years ago and had Nakisha Williams Bailey, Dr. Nakisha W. Bailey, Human Resources. I
Mhm.
never used a pen. My dad loved pens. I mean, he stole so many pens. Like when I cleaned out his car, he had a box of pens. He would go to job fairs and be like,
Just
Nakisha, go over
collecting
to
them.
he would go, he'd
Mm.
be like, go over to the WSFS table. They got the best pens. I'm like, oh my God. So I had this cross pen, and when we went to do the final viewing at the funeral home, I put the pen in his shirt pocket
Wow.
in the casket. Well, my
Wow.
husband did it. I was
Mhm.
falling out, right? My intention was for me to do it.
Mhm.
And I got there and he's, give me the pen. Come on. Like,
He's frustrated. Like
and he put the pen, in his shirt pocket,
wow.
and I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's another thing in your story, another point in your story that I want to talk about. Your dad thought it was very important to take pictures.
Oh
And that
God.
stayed with me as well. Because and I want to just take a moment to say a lot of times we as women, I don't want my picture taken. I don't like the way I look do you understand how important it is for somebody to have a picture of you when you're no longer here? So I always say that y'all take the picture. I don't want to hear nobody say I don't look good. It's not my
Look,
good side.
take the
Take the
picture.
picture.
Like
Talk
like
about that. Talk about what that meant to him.
the last year he was and Katrina's on here, Anita's on here, they would tell you everything. Take a picture, take a picture. He would get on my nerves. I'm like, we don't need a picture. Look, we're out here serving. He's like, no, take a picture, take a picture. And it would get on my nerve. We would fight about it.
Hmm.
Now I am so
Yeah.
thankful.
Yeah.
You know, oh my God. I can't wait. I can't wait for the next day to look at my Facebook memories
Wow. Wow.
because I can see our pictures. I can see what we're
Mhm.
doing.
Mhm.
And I still have his phone. I mean, he took so many pictures. I like, oh my God, like I feel sorry for someone who doesn't have pictures of their loved one.
Yeah. Yeah. And just
So,
because even of pictures of doing things and pictures of those memories, the
right.
places that you went, the things that you did as well.
And in the beginning, you cry. And I mean, even President Joe Biden said it best. Eventually, the crying will turn to laughter.
Mhm.
So the pictures that I looked at 2 years ago that would make me cry, now I'd be like, I'd be like, what was you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
It
But,
takes you back
and
to that moment.
they
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
me laugh now.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm looking, we have about 10 minutes. So I do want to ask a question about your daughter. You mentioned her, and even in the poem. Talk about again, someone who took her to school every single day. So that's a huge change even in her
Right.
life.
Yeah.
So talk about helping her through her grief while you're still grieving. You're still grieving as a daughter, but you have your daughter who's now grieving as a granddaughter. How did you help and assist her through her grief?
Well, one big thing was my dad. I have a cousin, and her daughter is the same age as my daughter,
Mhm.
and they were raised together. They're two out of triplets that we call them. And my dad made us go on a trip to Las Vegas the Christmas before he passed away.
Mm.
Like made us go. I was like, why are we going to Las Vegas? No, you need to go to Vegas. He paid for it, everything. You need to bring Kia with you, blah, 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 blah. What I found out was that my cousin had lost her father in August,
Mm.
and my dad was preparing us to have a direct resource with someone with a similar loss to talk
Wow.
to. That's major.
That's forward thinking. How forward thinking is that? And
So
intentional.
I had somebody to talk to who had just lost their father,
Mhm.
and my daughter had somebody to talk to that just lost their grandfather,
Mhm.
and we were all together. So that was
Wow.
number one. That was so intentional.
Wow.
Secondly, my daughter spent more time with him than I did, so she helped me.
Wow.
I didn't have like a voicemail message. She had a voicemail. She's like, I got one to pop up. So we went through it together.
Mhm.
I found his phone and I was like, I need to get in the phone. I don't know the passcode. She's like, I know the passcode. I sat next to him like she grabbed the phone. She's like, boop, 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 boop. Okay. You know, so we helped each other, but she probably helped me more than I helped her because she knew him. I think I knew him well. She knew him better than me. And she
Mhm.
shared a lot of stuff, right? So for me, I just was supportive. I gave her space. And I'm an HR director, right? We have EAP. I tell people use your resources, use your counseling, you know. And she was mad at God. She was like, she said, mm-mm. She didn't want to go to church. I said, we're going to church. We're going back to church immediately. We didn't take a break. And she's like, why are we taking a break? I said, I wanted people to offer condolences in almost in a silo.
Mm.
I didn't want him to pass away on Friday and not come back into the funeral. Then you got to see everybody. Let's just run into it and get it. So we just supported each other. Of course, my husband was there. Our friends and family, her friends, um, stayed faithful, even though we were mad. Um, just stayed honest
Yeah.
and
That's
just gave her
important,
right
right?
and
Yeah.
just gave her
Mhm.
space because she was
Mhm.
mad at me. When that night when we went to when we got the call and we went to the house, I left her in the bed sleep.
Didn't take her with you. Mhm.
And I said, and when we came back, and I told her, I was like, Papa passed away, and she had this one big tear that dropped because she said she told me she knew that she was going to lose him, but months later she told me, I'm pissed at you. You should have woke me up.
Wow.
And I
Wow.
said, you're right. I
Mhm.
should have.
Mhm.
So just be honest, give them
Yeah.
space, and then the first year you got to be ready for those days, the first days without.
All
And
those anniversary
right.
moments. Yeah. Yeah.
So she went through, high school graduation without, her first birthday without, all that without. So you got to you have to pre-grief, I guess is what you call it. You have to go through your grief, put it aside, and be ready for their grief.
Yeah. When needed. So
Hmm.
we have just a few minutes left. When I first met with you, I said, when people leave our show, what do you want them to leave with? What's the message that you want? So I just want you to kind of share in your own words as well. In closing to our guests, what is the message that you want to share with someone who may be grieving? What can they take away if you can sum up all of this conversation?
Oh God, I say stay encouraged. Um, be real, be honest with yourself. Don't um don't change the relationship. don't pretend it's more than what it was, and
Mm.
don't pretend it's less than what
It's
it
less
was.
than. That's good.
Right? Don't. It is what it is.
Or better or worse. Right. Right.
Right.
Same thing.
If y'all didn't like each other, didn't get along, don't try to fake this. Just it is what it is, and just recognize that you're going to be different. You are different, and stay faithful. God is a healer. He really
Amen.
is.
Amen.
Um, just be true. Just be honest. Just be honest, and it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to fall apart. It's okay. It's fine. You'll get up. You
Mhm.
know, my dad said the dead will take care of the dead. So don't die with your loved one.
Wow.
I still
Yeah,
got to
that's
raise my child. Still got to be a
mhm.
wife. You still have things to do. And I mean, how dishonorable would that be to Wilson Williams if I just stopped living when he prepared me so much for him to die?
So profound. So profound. Wow.
So
Thank you.
I just say be encouraged, and you know it's okay.
I love
It's
it.
okay.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you, my friend.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. This was
Thank you.
absolutely amazing. I appreciate you so much. And again, all her full story, her story to honor her dad will be on our website first thing tomorrow morning at faithfilledmoms.org. So we invite you to join us. Go to the website, leave your email address, and her blog will be delivered to your inbox first thing in the morning. And along with each week, our guest blog and this show, the link to this show. If you want to watch it, if you want to share it with someone else, if you feel like someone else could use this, or there's something that you want to really replay, it'll be on our website so you'll have access to it. So thank you. We want to invite our guest back next week. Our guest who was scheduled to talk about her dad, she lost her mother. Her mother
Oh,
passed away, and the funeral was today. So of course we could not have her on. We told her we're going to have her come back because obviously you have a new testimony to be able to share, even in this. But our team has been planning. We were going to do a grief special for the holidays in December. We're going to do that tomorrow or next week anyway, because Thanksgiving's still a holiday. Right before Thanksgiving,
right.
we felt that was an opportune time to do that. So we are going to talk about dealing with grief during the holidays because we know that
It's a lot. It's a
yeah,
lot.
that's tough. So we're going to share about our loss and how we deal with that, and we're going to have more interactive conversations. So please come back and join us. I saw Beverly's comment. Beverly, we're going to talk about your comment. You mentioned tonight that you had one-on-one conversations with your siblings. And I think that's something I'm going to share. I think about even in our story. I didn't. And a lot of times you have siblings where you judge siblings for how you think they should be acting, but everyone's different. And
And we
everyone's
talked
walk
about that.
is different.
Everybody,
Yes.
because we talked about that, and I said to
Yes.
you, because you have siblings, but only you lost your
Yeah.
dad the way
And
you lost your
I
dad.
can't judge them. I
You
can't judge
can't
the way
judge
you're.
them
Mhm.
because your relationship with him was your relationship.
That's right. That's
Just
right. So
like you gotta
we're gonna talk about it. Yes.
you gotta give him some grace. You get mad. Like I think about if you remember that episode of Good Times, and they're like, "Why is it mom crying?" Like
She
it's
processing her own
it's
way. That's
it's
right.
individual, and things
That's
will hit you. I'll smell my dad's cologne. Like I kept some of his suits and stuff, and and
so
I
Marquis
you
so
do that.
Marquisha's giving me the signal. We gotta close because we gotta be able to have this replay. We have to be under an hour so we can replay. So guests, come back next week. We thank you so much for joining us. Nakisha,
Thank
thank you so
you.
much. We will see everyone next time. God bless.
Yes, love you, girl. God
Love you
bless.
too.